Ahead and get started. So welcome everyone to the core soft skills for project managers thriving in today's tech evolution. And I'm really excited for all of you to attend this webinar. As I was doing research for it, I learned a lot, and I am by no means very well versed in AI, but I did a lot of research for it. And I also have taken the course with PMI. And I found out a lot of really good information of things that I can do and practice on my own. And I'm going to be going through some of those items with you today. So, about this webinar, here we have a list of all of the resources that we used to create this webinar, and all of these materials are copyrighted. And with our copyright, this document is not for use or disclosure outside of those who attend this webinar and may not be copied, recorded, or reproduced in any manner, in whole or in part, without the prior written consent of RMC Learning Solutions. So I am Cheryl Karstens. I'm the manager of curriculum development and a trainer at RMC Learning Solutions. And I am a leader in our practice and helping to make sure that all of the materials are current, all of our classes are giving out great information. And I have over 20 years of experience in training and development, project management, agile, hybrid business analysis, and leadership development. I have been a 3-time speaker at PMI Global Summit. The last one I was at was last fall in Los Angeles. I really enjoy speaking at PMI events. I have a BA in Human Resources from Metropolitan State University in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which is where I am currently located. And I have added my LinkedIn address. So if anyone would like to connect, you can certainly copy down that address and send me an invite in LinkedIn, or ask any questions, or anything. I would be happy to help. So a little bit about RMC Learning Solutions. It was founded in 1991 by Rita Mulcahy. Rita was going to take the PMP exam prep in 1991, and she went to look for a book and could not find a book. She wrote the very first PMP exam prep study book. And since then, we have, as an organization, taken her founding philosophy on training and made changes and updated all of that information. Rita ultimately passed away in 2010 from breast cancer, and we have continued on her journey and helping all of her students with training and getting all of the information that they need regarding project management. So we've helped over 1 million professionals prepare for certification exams. We primarily focus on project management, business analysis, agile, and a combination of all of those. So a little bit of hybrid as well. Numerous learning solutions and products ranging from self-study to e-learning to classroom to instructor-led virtual courses. And we do still do our instructor-led virtuals. I will be traveling starting on Tuesday for the next 2 weeks and going to organizations and doing training there. We also have an international reach. We currently train in 60 regions and 18 languages around the world. And I believe one of the main reasons that we have been successful for over 30 years now is we are focused on outcome-based learning through professional instructors, coaches, and mentors. And what that means is each one of our courses that you take at the end of the class or in their workbooks, there is an action plan and there is steps for them to take after the class to begin implementing all that they have learned. And that is very important to us. You do not just sit in a class, you have action plans and steps to take as a result of that class. And we will have those at the end of our webinar today as well. Our agenda, we are defining, understanding, and leveraging emotional intelligence. We are also going to discuss adaptability and resiliency, and communication and motivation skills, and how all of these skills can be helped out with technology and specifically using AI in order to improve our skills. And then we're going to be talking about conflict management, and we're going to end our sessions today with 3 tips that you can start using today based on all that we have learned. So I would like to go through a few artificial intelligence statistics with you. I found all of these to be a little bit humbling when I was thinking about my own skills and whether or not I was keeping up with these projections. So 75% of companies will have adopted AI by 2027. By 2030, which is only 5 years away, AI will contribute $15.7 trillion to the global economy. That's more than the combined GDP of India and Germany. And that is a massive amount of money. 80% of project management tasks, including scheduling, risk management, and reporting, can be automated by AI by 2030. Again, that's only 5 years away, and 80% of those project management tasks. AI driven project managers complete tasks 40% faster and reduce budget overruns by 20%. And in this day and age, we are watching all of those metrics and trying to be more productive and save more money. And by using AI, it has been proven that we can do both of those things. So as I was researching and getting ready to give this webinar, these are the statistics and things that I was thinking about. And I realized that I have some work to do. I need to get to be more capable using AI and also using it more on a day-to-day basis to help me in my position. So I would first of all like for all of you to answer this question, and hopefully you can find the question box and add your thoughts into that box. What AI tools, apps, or software have you been using or are you currently using? And if you would be so kind as to completing and putting that in the question box. I'm just trying to get my question box open here. All right, I see. Chat GPT. Gotta make my box bigger. Copilot, yes. Right, Chat GPT, automation, Grammarly. I used that one too. OpenAI, Claude, Gemini. Absolutely. Oh, these are great. These are all great examples of AI, and I'm going to be showing a few of these. We're going to be talking about also PMI affinity, which is based on Chat GPT, but it is created and run by PMI. And that's also a very helpful chat that you can use as well. Chat GPT, which is an open AI Copilot that was mentioned, that is run by Microsoft, and Gemini, which I believe is run by Google. And it used to be Bard, but they have changed the name to Gemini. And I have used that after some meetings to help get our meeting notes and all of that information taken care of. So, when we are looking at and thinking about using all these AI chatbots or software, we also need to be aware of the regulatory and compliance and policies, the confidentialities, and there is also some ethical dilemmas that we need to be aware of. And if our organization that we work for has policies on how to use AI, then that can be very helpful. I know that many companies are struggling to keep up or do not have very clear policies on using a lot of these chatbots or software. And that is definitely something I think we're going to see more in the future, and give us more examples of how and when we should be using them. But attending webinars like this help us all to get on that same page and start thinking about different ways that we can use all of this technology. So, part of what we're going to be talking about is defining, understanding, and leveraging emotional intelligence while we are using this technology, which might seem a little counterintuitive, but I'm going to give you some suggestions and show you some different ways that you can use it, and it can be very helpful. So, just a quick run through on emotional intelligence. We start off with our own self awareness. We start off looking at our own self confidence. We want to have an accurate self awareness and emotional self awareness. And a lot of times, the best thing that we can do is look at our own triggers of when we get upset, or somebody says something or does something, and we notice that it might get us riled up in a way. When you start to notice those things, keep a list, write them down. It's really important for your self-awareness to start realizing what it is that clicks your buttons, so to speak. And then based off of that list, then you start thinking about how you manage those types of situations. And you look at your self management, how you practice self control, your conscientiousness, and your adaptability. And I've given the example many times for myself. I know that one of my triggers is being referred to as being unprofessional. And when I'm in a situation where I know that I may be called into question, or something that I have done is going to be called into question, I practice self management. I think through that situation ahead of time. I plan how I'm going to react and what type of responses that I'm going to give in order to reflect my emotional intelligence and not feed into being an unprofessional person. Then we also have our emotional intelligence with others. And in social situations, you want to have that social awareness and be able to respond with empathy, having organizational awareness or environmental awareness. For anyone who watched Survivor this week, or happen to hear about what happened on Survivor, there was a contestant who has autism, and the rest of the contestants on Survivor were not aware that Eva has autism, and she had a little bit of a emotional breakdown, so to speak. And there was another contestant that she had told that she had autism too, and Joe reacted with a lot of empathy and environmental awareness. And it was a great example of using emotional intelligence with others. And if you haven't seen that episode, I have seen quite a few posts about it on Facebook, but I suggest you go off and look at it, because it really, really was a very good episode this past week. And that helps us with our relationship management. So, based on our social awareness and using more empathy, we have more influence on others. We can help develop others, inspire others, and teamwork and collaboration. And again, on Survivor, we did get a good example of that relationship management when Joe went over and gave a hug to Eva and helped her to calm down and to feel better. It was a great example of emotional intelligence. One of the things that I found very interesting as I was doing my research, and I would like to share with all of you, is looking at using AI with personal interactions. As I said earlier, I have used Gemini for meeting transcripts. There is a great button that you can push that will record all of your meeting and put it into transcript for you. It's super helpful. You can do this with team sessions. You can do this with chat. Also, with email correspondence, they can help you draft or respond as well. I had watched a TED Talk with Jeremy Nguyen, and that TED Talk's title is "How AI Can Unlock Human Empathy." And he had some great examples of ways that you can use AI to help you improve your own personal interactions. So, for example, using a meeting transcript, He's suggested that you can get that transcript and then sit down and go through that transcript and look for all of the times when you interrupted or started talking and cut somebody off, and highlight all of the times that you did that in the meeting. You can look at the transcripts, they're available on Gemini. Zoom has some. You can use them in your team meetings. And no one else has to know that you're looking at the transcripts to see when you have interrupted or cut someone off. But it can be very enlightening for yourself to find out if you are doing that. And if you are, look for any of the types of trails that you can find. So, are you doing this to one specific person? Are you interrupting everyone in the meeting? And you can gain some self awareness from looking at those transcripts. And then when you are going into the next meeting, you can start to make some of those changes and start to be very conscious of when you are talking and when somebody else has finished. And then you can get that transcript and compare that to the first one. I really like that information. I think that is a great suggestion. And you, of course, don't have to just do it for interrupting people. There's lots of different things that are going on during a meeting that you can look at how you react, how you respond, and make changes and gather some more self-awareness of how you act and maybe how other people are the impressions that you're giving other people during meetings. So we are also going to look at adaptability and resiliency and look at it specifically in this tech evolution, because never has adaptability and resiliency been so important as a job skill for all employees. The need to pivot from one expectation to another can make one become overwhelmed, and it can contribute to burnout. Constant interruptions from emails, coworkers, job expectations, they can literally bring people to their knees. They're working long hours. They maybe have to take unexpected work trips. They may have computer issues. They may be being called back into the office and they have previously worked from home. All of these different things that are going on right now, they can all come from out of nowhere and really turn an employee's life upside down. Being able to adapt to new situations and have the resiliency to overcome obstacles may be the most important aspect of a project manager's job. And I would like to look at some ways that we can assist in making their lives and our own lives a little less complicated. And one of the ways that we can do this is by being servant leaders and helping everyone on our team. One of the pieces that Jeremy Nguyen referred to in his TED Talk, he helped his team as they led to perform their best work and growth in their positions. And he used the term processing power because it implies the need to process so many different things, that our brains are constantly processing information. And as we are tackling that information in our workplace, sometimes the data or information comes in so fast and it becomes overwhelming. And information also contains context. Whereas when we are looking at just data, that literally just comes and includes the entries of information. So our brains need to process information and data. And often we just need to slow down and think through what is most important and encourage our team members to do the first thing first. And servant leaders help team members remember what to prioritize and when to work on it. And this is a very important skill for our servant leaders to help exercise with their team members. When you see a team member that appears to be overwhelmed or is not quite sure what they should be started on or what they should be working on, have a conversation with that person and help them to look at what their processing power is and be able to prioritize what they should be working on at that particular moment. Because as we're working through many tasks and we're working on it at our own pace, that is a sign of being adaptable. Being able to work at the appropriate speed for thoroughness and attention to detail is necessary to keep many project management positions and work moving along. Keeping timelines realistic helps everyone stay on task and accomplish the required specifications for the deliverables. And I recently, this week, had a conversation with a project manager, and she was telling me that every project that she works on ends up with they complete the deliverables after their due date. And she said it's because the schedules that they are given are unrealistic and they accept that schedule knowing that it's going to be late. And when her and I talked about it, I explained that it is the project manager's duty to push back on those schedules that you know you are never going to be able to make. That it is up to the project manager to help leadership understand why they have an unrealistic timeline. And that is the only way that you can actually get to a place where you're going to have realistic timelines to work towards. Because we need to have the resiliency to prioritize the tasks that need to be done. And we prioritize them in a way that keeps that realistic timeline. And then it can also be magnified by using artificial intelligence and other technologies. Of course, using effective communication skills helps everyone involved. But when we are using our technology to help us, we can become more adaptable and have more resiliency. And this also comes into play when we are talking about communication and motivation skills. As I said earlier, we can use AI to help us communicate more efficiently and effectively. And we can use such programs as ChatGPT to help us draft reports or help write more concise emails. And one of the ways that I have started using ChatGPT is to be able to help me draft some emails that I want to be professional. And here I have listed out some of the information that I have included when I've been drafting an email. So when I am drafting an email, I always want it to use those 5 C's of communication. So I always want it to have correct grammar and spelling, that it's concise and well crafted, clear and purposeful, has coherent and logic, and a controlled flow of words and ideas. So, part of what is so important about using our technology is the prompt and the way that we are prompting the technology to, in this case, draft an email. So, my prompt is using the 5 C's of effective communication, draft an email about the meeting on Friday, April 4th, stating it will be casual, food and beverages will be provided, and we are having live music. And this is the email that after I put in those prompts that it came back with. So, casual meeting with food, beverages, and live music, Friday, April 4th. Hi team. I hope you are all doing well. I just wanted to remind everyone about the coming meeting on Friday, April 4th. This will be a casual gathering, so feel free to dress comfortably. We will be providing food and beverages for everyone, and there will also be live music to enjoy during the event. Looking forward to seeing you there. Please let me know if you have any questions. Now, it's a rather simple chat and a simple email, but I certainly have time when I am overwhelmed or have too many things on my plate to even come up with this email, and being able to put it into chat GPT or another one of those types of programs and just have this email come out is fabulous. It is really, for me, really super helpful. And I definitely am going to start using this more than I currently do. But I just love the idea of it. And it makes some of those tasks that are a little bit redundant, or like I said, it just really don't want to take the time to have to put it together, it really makes it very helpful. So I suggest trying using AI to help you draft some emails. I also have quite a few emails that I have used, that I have just copied and pasted, and then I go in and edit for the particular circumstance. Um, but it does make communicating clearly and professionally a lot easier. And of course, no one has to know that you're using AI to put any of your emails together. Um, Another suggestion that I did see and looked at during Nguyen's, there we go, TED Talk. Um, he gave me an example, and I started to put this together based on his example. So if we look at this picture, here we have what looks like a younger person. He looks like he's either getting yelled at or reprimanded. So let's call this younger man Jake. Jake is a newer employee, and what he is getting yelled at for is something he didn't do because he didn't know he was supposed to do it. He doesn't want his manager to get in trouble, so he doesn't say a word. He takes the lashing and then he goes back to his desk. When he gets home that day, he starts to tell his friend about getting yelled at for something that he didn't even know he was supposed to be working on. So his friend explains to him that because he's new, he really needs to tell this person the truth. And he needs to explain it in a way so that his manager doesn't get in trouble. and that everyone is now aware of the fact that the work needs to get done, and Jake is prepared to do it. Jake becomes the hero instead of the new guy who doesn't do his work. And the problem for Jake is he has no idea, excuse me, how to talk to the man who yelled at him. And his friend suggests he could use Gemini to help him determine what to say. Um, oh, excuse me. So what I did was I put that whole description of what I just went through, and I put all of that into Gemini. And this is the conversation that it came back with for Jake. And it says, I wanted to quickly talk about the feedback from earlier today regarding, and briefly mention the task. I completely understand the importance of getting that done. I just wanted to clarify, as I wasn't aware it was part of my responsibilities. Moving forward, I'm more than happy to take on that task, and I want to make sure I'm clear on all of my duties so I can contribute effectively. Could we perhaps schedule a brief meeting to go over my current responsibilities and any upcoming projects? I'm eager to learn and ensure everything gets done efficiently. And I think that is a great response and a way for him to explain that situation without getting anyone in trouble, without pointing at anyone. And I would definitely use their suggestion of how to communicate back with that person who had yelled at him. Um, So when we are looking at prompts and how to put information into prompts, there is a lot of information on this slide. And you will receive a copy of this recording, so you don't have to worry about trying to jot all of this information down. But you want to make sure that you're using natural language. You want your communication to sound like you're the one who put it together or who said it. So as you're reading through, you also want to make sure as you're reading it, you change any of the wording of things that you may not personally say and change it into more of your own tone. You want to provide clear and detailed instructions. Give the AI a clear understanding of what you want it to do or to generate. And I have heard stories of other using products for helping to create schedules, to help create risk checklists. And again, you just want to make sure that you are giving it as much information as it needs in order to create each of those from those prompts that you're giving. So you want to keep prompts concise and straightforward. Avoid unnecessary jargon or ambiguity. AI doesn't work very well if it doesn't know exactly what it's trying to do. Be conversational. Think of the AI as a partner in a text-based conversation. I really like that suggestion. I think that that's very helpful, especially when you are looking at drafting some type of communication or an email, that you want to make sure that it is conversational. And then structure your prompts. Use a logical structure to guide the AI's response. Be specific. Provide enough context for the AI to understand your request. And focus on the subject, shapes, colors, textures, patterns, and artistic styles. When you are prompting for AI art, describe in detail the subject and all of the details that you want to see. I have used this to help create a graphic, and it was, to me, it was very cool and fascinating how it was able to complete that graphic more in more detail than I actually would have thought that it was able to do. And then you want to use instruction for prompting. This allows generative AI models to handle complex tasks by providing clear, concise directions. And I have definitely heard of people, again, as they're having it create a draft, trying it once and then adding more details and then having it draft another iteration and getting more and better results with each iteration. So, also, we have to look at motivation, and we're looking at when we are communicating with our team, we need to remember their level of motivation. And there are many models of motivation, but personally, I like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. To me, it makes the most sense. So I'm going to use that as I'm talking about motivation today. We first need to think about their extrinsic, motivations. So we want to think about the external motivations for our team members. Are they making enough money to satisfy their physiological needs? And hopefully they can say yes. And then you can look at the other levels. Do they have safety and are they socially motivated? I find team members that are socially motivated, that is where I center my communication with them. And a simple please and thank you can help motivate many team members. Recognizing accomplishments helps with esteem motivation. And that works very well for myself. That is something that I am motivated by. I'm always working on self actualization for my team, helping them to grow and learn more skills. And I like to look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs for two reasons. To again look at what myself and my team members and those that I work with, what they're motivated by, and then adapt some of my communication skills to help motivate them. So if I find that I have a team member that is motivated by safety, by having a stable work environment, who is knows exactly what they're going to be working on every single day. That's what I will try to emphasize in communication with that team member. And when they are trying or using new technology, I'm also talking to them about that motivation, about how they can safely use this form of technology to help them do their jobs faster, more accurately, whatever that case may be. But I like to keep all of that information together and then use that as a motivation for my team members or anyone really that I am talking to and trying to help motivate. So sometimes when we are using the wrong type of motivation, it can cause conflict. And using various forms of new technology can also cause some conflict. So let me give you an example. As I said earlier, I got a new computer. I changed from using a Dell computer to an HP. I am a remote worker. I don't go into the office. My office is in Denver and I live in Minneapolis. So when I got my new computer, I had to install all of my software. I had to remember all of my passwords. And in January of 2024, RMC was purchased and became a part of Peterson's. And so after 8 years of being with RMC, some of my passwords were still tied to my RMC email address, and some of them were tied to my new Peterson's email address. And for the most part, I just had the computer memorize those. So it really wasn't a big deal for me for the last year until I got a new computer, and my computer didn't remember any of those passwords anymore. And I had to, as I was installing all of the software, go in and put in my username and password. And that would have been great if I remembered them all, or if I knew which email address I had registered for it for. But unfortunately, I didn't remember that. And I spent a lot of time, as well as last Friday, unfortunately, trying to get all of these things in place and setting everything up on my computer. And it created a lot of conflict. And because I work in my home office, I didn't have anyone else that I could show my computer to or ask them for help. I ultimately did end up having somebody come in and help, and logged into my computer, but it caused a lot of conflict for me. And so part of what I needed to be able to do was go through and look at our conflict model and think about ways that I could problem solve for this technology and be able to work through all of the conflict and issues that I was having. I definitely needed to compromise some websites. I could never figure out what my password was, so I would have to reset my password. Withdrawal, I've definitely had withdrawal and avoided some of the software on my computer because I just haven't been able to figure out exactly where it was or what it's going through. I've also worked through smoothing and being forceful. And so all of these different emotions and ways of reacting to conflict have all resulted from a use of technology. And I bring this up because I also want to remind everyone that as you are learning AI, as you are starting with new software and entering more of this world in our technological evolution, there's going to be conflict. There's going to be moments that people are going to get frustrated. They're going to have to work through this conflict model. And for all of us as leaders, we need to recognize that and then also be open to helping people work through these issues. And we want to look at it, those common technology issues that I brought up at the very beginning of this webinar, that data security, governance, ethical compliance, AI literacy, that your organization is either working on all of these issues and has you've raised those questions with them, making sure that change resistance, that if it is becoming a major change in how people are doing their jobs, that there is a change management program, and that it is being communicated so everyone knows exactly what is expected and what is an acceptable rate of change, for workforce upskilling, model accuracy, decision reliability, and human oversight. As I said, a lot of AI, you do need to go back in and read through the information that it comes up with and make sure that it is conversational, but also make sure that it is accurate. And you don't want to be sending anything out that anyone then is going to look at it and say, well, where did you come up with these numbers or this information? You want to make sure that it is all accurate. So when we look at our 3 tips that you can use today, the first one is examine current uses of emotional intelligence to ensure you are encouraging adaptability and resiliency, that you are examine current communications plan, you review conflict management plan, and discuss use of technology with your team. So, our first one, examine current uses of emotional intelligence to ensure you are encouraging adaptability and resiliency. You want to practice using AI to improve your processing power. And again, you can do that by looking at transcripts or having it help you draft emails or any type of communication. You can encourage your team to use AI and report back on their findings and review with team what everyone has learned. I think this is a great idea for a team meeting and having everyone use a different form of AI to research something and then bring it back to their team. You also want to examine your current communications plan. You want to determine if your communications are effective. Practice using AI to draft your communications. Determine team members' current level of motivation and what can you do to enhance their motivation. And then discuss motivation with the team. That's also a great team building activity. You can use some of the different tools and have each person determine what their motivation is and discuss it. And review conflict management plan and the team charter. You want to update that plan based on current technology demands. Maybe the conflict management plan or the team charter has not been looked at for a while. So it's a good idea to go back and look at it and make updates to it. Discuss uses of technology with the team, and then determine to draft any process or policy changes or to be able to discuss any of those changes with the leadership in your organization. You also want to, oops, I went the wrong way. There we go. I am going to go through just a few more slides and then I will answer your questions. We're getting down there in the amount of time that we have, so I'm going to finish this up quick. We do have upcoming classes for our PMP exam prep, the PMP exam prep night classes that runs from 6 to 9:30 p.m. Central Time. And then we also do have a CIPM class coming up in May. And we then have the information on how to claim your PDU for attending this class. And I apologize, I did not change that to March 8th. But the title is The Core Soft Skills for PMs Thriving in Today's Tech Evolution. It is 1 hour in the ways of working credit, and you can see the rest of the information that you do need to put in order to claim your PDUs. So I am now going to look and see if we have any questions. And if you have a question, you can go ahead and put it into the question box. All right, here we go. I've got to make my boxes a little bit bigger. All right. Oops. Did I hear you? Recording of what Cheryl said. You will receive a recording of what I said with the slides. So you will be able to look at the prompts on the slides. You can always pause what I was saying in order to read through those prompts. Did you have to write out the 5 C's on the left side you described? Yes, I did. I typed out what all of the 5 C's were, but I just did the C's, the actual first word, and then put that in as a prompt that I wanted that included in my response in my email. All right. Thank you, Carlos. He said this was an excellent webinar. Very nice to hear. I'm not seeing any other questions. And I have 12:58. So I'm very happy that all of you attended today. I do hope you took away a thought or two of something that you can try. I really do encourage you to talk to your team members about their use of AI. I found that when I brought up that I was working on this webinar, that I did get a lot of information from my coworkers, people that I work with, of different things that they had been doing, and that was really helpful. So I find that just being open about it and talking about what you are trying to learn, the majority of people are very helpful and willing to help you, let you know what they've learned as well. And with that, have a great day. And I appreciate all of you being here today.